Access granted.
Hello again and welcome back Underhive Dwellers to this, the first week of our new campaign kicking off again. And yeah, here's a look at the current campaign gangs. There are 16 players in our current campaign. 16. I never expected this many. We had 10 before. It was quite a good core group, but we now have 16 players. I don't expect all of them to continue playing. Some of them might drop out, but hell, if we can improve on this, increase this core group that we have, it's going to be great. Here's a look at my Escher gang, and here is the how the Genestealer cult. These guys I cannot stand. But yeah, there's loads of them. Weak, but loads of them. And before we get on to the game, here is a quick look at some of the tables. Normally we have 3 tables set up in our gaming club with lots of scenery and terrain, but this week was all Zone Mortalis, and we don't have all of the terrain for all of the boards, sadly. So we had to make do with what we had, but 5 tables. And here we go, we've set up. I am the defender, so I picked first and deployed first. Spread out my forces a bit. Champion and ganger on the left. Leader and 2 gangers in the centre. Plus Death Maiden, a ganger, and a Wild Runner out on the right. My opponent did pretty much the same sort of thing. Split his forces into 3 groups. I'm outnumbered by 1 technically. My opponent won the initiative, won the priority and took the first turn, going with a double move with one of his characters. I did the same. Wild Runner moved up once, first to there, and then a second moved up to get closer and to be in front as a target that they must try and shoot before they get to others, or pass crew check. Most of the first turn is pretty much as you would expect with, as it generally is in Necromund, mostly just double moving, getting into better positions for the coming turn. So here I changed my mind on the Death Maiden and I move her slightly behind the door for some cover, expecting the door to be open in the second turn. Again, my opponent just double moving people behind the door. I did the same, moving my ganger here up to the door and then opening it. Again, he moved his 3rd ganger up to that door. I think we may have missed one of my activations here, but he activates his leader and his familiar, finishes within 3. I hate those familiars. So you can see there where I made a mistake on the editing. And here was where I was trying to decide what to do with my the ganger here on the left at the las gun. So I moved her up towards the loot crates, the ammo crates even, to get a good field of view of the people coming down on the left hand side. My opponent here moving people up, double moving behind cover. And here's where I moved up my leader into the corridor. Again, another double move, moving people into, just keeping people into cover. I decided to move my other ganger again. She moved out into cover, but again having a good line of sight, good field of view for anything coming down the left hand side. Again, my opponent doing likewise, keeping his groups together. And then finally I moved my champion out up to one side because I realised that my opponent had his infiltrator had demo charge of a 5-inch blast. I did not want my champion to be hit by that. Sadly, I had already placed my my people on the right hand side. So here we roll off for priority for turn 2. My opponent wins it, and this is where things start to rapidly go downhill for me straight away, because he won the priority. It could have gone the other way. If I won priority for him, it would have gone very similar, because I had a plan in store for turn 2. But yeah, for his first activation, he did a group activation. First one was with the icon bearer moving and opening the door. Second activation was moving his guy with the infiltrator and the demo charge up, and then throwing it. You can see where he places the marker. Only a 6-inch range, but he had enough range to put it right there between 3 of my gangers. We've got Death Maiden, Wild Runner, and one of my gangers. Yeah, I was not happy about this. And yeah, he rolls the hit there with a 5, so it didn't scatter, hit all 3 of them. And he proceeds to roll for my gangers. So they all go down pinned. He rolled 3 serious injuries for my Wild Runner, so she stayed on alive. Then he wounded my my ganger, or my Death Maiden. She took 3 flesh wounds. My ganger, yeah, she took 3 flesh wounds. Went out of action. So I rolled the die for her, getting a 56. So that was enfeebling at -1 toughness. I forgot to miss the roll for my Death Maiden. But she was no serious injury, just missing a game into recovery. So I activate my Wild Runner. She crawls back out of the way around the corner. And then he chooses to activate one of his other players. He uses his tactics card. Instead of activating that fighter, he can activate another fighter that's already gone. So he uses his Abomination, whatever it's called, and charges. This is something I missed again when recording. He charges round the corner and does a coup de grace on one of my other gangers, which was hit with his web pistol from his leader. So she goes out of action. We take an injury roll. We get a 22. So she's fine for the next game. No real serious injury there. But that's 2 fighters out of action and 1 seriously injured. And here I roll a cool check for my leader. She doesn't care. Sorry about the wobbly camera. But yeah, looking downrange with my ganger. Oh no, I'm not looking downrange. I put the camera down so I could see, so I could move my ganger down round the corner, and then take a shot at his character, his ganger that's out there on his own, needing a 3s to hit, and I hit. Goes down pinned. Then this is to wound. I can't remember if I wounded or not. I don't think I wounded, just pinned. He then goes with his, on the bottom right, or top right of the even, activates, so opens the door and then moves out behind to try and gain some cover. In response, I activate my ganger that is still over there behind the barricade, and aim and shoot, being within 18 gives me a +2 to the -1 hitting on 3s. which was a success. I hit. Strength 4 with the Hotshot las gun pack, needing a 3s to wound, which is also a success. Only has 1 wound, so we go for an injury die, and it's a flesh wound. He again double moves with another one of his gangers, keeping him out of sight. And here's where I move and then shoot with my champion with the las gun. Downrange, I needed a 5 to hit because it was -2. I got a 4, and I needed an ammo check on this as well. So I needed a 5 to succeed, and I failed. So my champion became out of ammo. And yeah, things swiftly went downhill from there. I must have missed my leader shooting with her bolter. She also went shot at his leader with my leader with a bolter. I hit once, and also took a munitions check and failed. So my bolt gun from my leader was also out of ammo. And things were looking pretty bad. So it came down to I passed my bottle check on a 2, and then looking at the state of the board, I decided that discretion was the better part of valor, and decided to voluntarily bottle, because he heavily outnumbered me. I had nothing to really hit him back with without suffering severe losses. I was out of ammo for my main weapons. I still had a needle rifle, but that's not a bolter. I would much rather have the bolter. So yeah, things were looking pretty grim, so I decided to call it quits for today, and go away, lick my wounds, come back for another fight another day with relatively few losses. It did, however, give me enough experience to level up 4 of my gangers. The ganger who became enfeebled also gained the 1 experience she needed to level up. In doing so, I rolled a +1 toughness, so she was -1 toughness, but then became toughness 3 again on the advancement roll. So nothing really bad there. So just the 2 are out of action for the next, out in recovery for the next game. And yeah, a bunch of fighters leveled up, and I have enough to buy 1 more ganger for the next game. So I'll have 7 going into the next game. Not ideal, but it's a fun game. And yeah, early on in the campaign, I didn't want to suffer massive casualties, because it would have just been silly. I also gained a territory, as my opponent chose to take the racket instead of the territory, which gave me D6 times 5 credits for the territory every round, unless somebody takes it from me. So I can't complain with that. It's a little extra coin. So yeah, it was pretty harsh. He got a really good second turn. Like I say, it probably would have been the same for me. I had a good gang tactic that I was about to use, as well as a group activation with a gang tactic, which I plan to do some serious damage with. But yeah, it went in my opponent's favour today, and that's the way it goes in Necromund. As I usually say, when bad things happen to people, welcome to the Underhive, or welcome to Necromund. It happens, so kind of get used to it. next week I will have another. Next week I'll have another game with. I'll be videoing 2 other people play, so we'll see 2 other different gangs in play, and we'll find out what happens then. Until next time, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more Necromund Battle reports. Until next time, take care.
All systems active.